Hello, everybody. We are back. We're back. The Starlight podcast is here after pretty long hiatus. Wouldn't you say, Mr. Bates?
Yeah, it's been quite a while. Surprised to be sure, but a welcome one.
Welcome one.
Back.
Absolutely. The strike happened. What the I moved to the city. Season was going crazy, so we made time. We are excited for what the main topic of this podcast is going to be, and that is the Acolyte. Just a reminder to those who do not know us, I'm Connor, aka Jedi.Connor on TikTok, and this is my best friend John Bates. Do an introduction.
Hello there. Yeah, so I'm Johnny. I used to be on TikTok as well. If people remember Daddy Sheev, that was me back in the day.
Yes,
Connor and
sir.
I used to do some live streams about 3 years ago on TikTok. And then we did the podcast obviously last year, and now we're back. I don't, post TikTok content anymore, but I'm still a big Star Wars fan, and I'm, always keeping up on all of the latest stuff. So
And we're
ready to
here.
talk about it. And we're here. Yes.
All right, beautiful. So let's get right into it. We don't know how long this is going to be. Little introduction podcast, get back into the swing of things, but big topic, the Acolyte is here. Finally, it's been a couple of years since this has been announced. This has been three, maybe even 4 years since maybe 3 years since this was announced, but basically a dark side centric story, the first of its kind. If I'm to be completely honest, I am stoked for this show. I know that it's gotten some mixed reviews. We've gotten some
That's one way
uh
to put it. You say it mixed, dude. I
if
look at all the dislikes. People are already judging it, and it hasn't even come out yet. Uh,
yeah,
but I'm looking forward to it as well. So I think people are
and
judging too quickly. People like to hate Star Wars these days. Obviously, there's been some things, but I'm looking forward to the show. I'm definitely giving it a chance. It looks really cool. We just watched all like both trailers and then the teaser fight clip that was Connor. You said it was after the like an end credit for the Phantom Menace
yep,
25th
yep,
anniversary.
yep.
Cool. Yeah, so we just watched that fight scene, and then we watched the one with Master Soul against the assassin that came out last week. So we just got a fresh taste of all the content again, and we're fired up here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's let's take just an introduction to the Acolyte. The Disney Star Wars page quotes it as an investigation into a shocking crime spree pits a respected Jedi Master against a dangerous warrior from his past. As more clues emerge, they travel down a dark path where sinister forces reveal all is not what it seems. So, um, that in and of itself seems it's almost like a crime investigation. The Jedi at this point are in the High Republic. So let's talk about what the High Republic is. I am very familiar with this setting. You a little less, so I know you started Light of the Jedi.
Sorry.
You started it.
But yeah, I
Yes,
started
yes.
that book and I never finished it. And I have read some of the comics, but I am quite a noob when it comes to the High Republic.
And I think that's a good perspective because I come from someone who has read, I want to say like 9 or 10 of the High
I mean, you
Republic
read pretty much,
books.
yeah. I mean, you read pretty much everything at this point.
Yeah, I've there's phase one and phase two. I'm a little bit behind on phase two, which is even further back than phase one, which is where Light of the Jedi takes place. But the High Republic is basically 250 or 300, 250 years before the Phantom Menace. The Jedi are said to be in their prime, which basically means they are starting to explore the Outer Rim. They're taking basically kind of think of them as like cowboys on the Outer Rim, kind of exploring new planets, starting to spread uh, the government to newer lands, and they're truly keepers of the peace. It's the Sith have not been seen in thousands of years. Basically, fighting pirates is the pirates are the main villains
The
at
Nihil.
this. The Nihil, correct? Yes,
I
the
do know
Nihil.
that.
Yes, you do. You do. The Nihil have been. the main villain of what is the High Republic now, which they're really great. It's a really great take on like not having just a dark side force user. Anyways, the way that this relates to the Acolyte is the Acolyte takes place 100 years before the Phantom Menace, so the end of the High Republic era. The Jedi at this point are starting to take their trend towards what we see in the prequels. You can see in the beginning of the High Republic, the books, that the government, the Republic, is starting to get more intertwined with the Jedi themselves. They're starting to become more bureaucratic. Basically, the start of the problems that led to Palpatine coming to power and the Sith being able to take over the Republic. So I'm super excited. You see the difference visually with the Jedi. You see their gold robes. You see, uh, different lightsaber colors. That's something that the High Republic really introduced. We have a bunch of different lightsaber colors like yellow, orange, purple. We see Vernestra behind you, Jonny. With the
Oh,
purple lightsaber. Vernestra is one of the biggest characters in the High Republic, most important. So it's cool to see her. Her species lives for a long time, so we can talk about her a little bit later. But I just want to hear your perspective on what going into a new era. I know you've only read a little bit of the first High Republic book, so what excites you about learning about this new era that we haven't seen before?
what excites me, I'd say I'm just really interested in seeing the Jedi kind of at their highest point and what that looks like. Um, to piggyback real quick, to piggyback off what you said earlier about, the different color robes and lightsaber colors. I also noticed in the trailer that what was her name behind me? Uh
Vernestra, call her
Vanessa
Vern.
Vernestra. She used the Force to open up a door in the Jedi Temple, which I thought was pretty cool. And at least I'm interpreting that as like, they're quite connected to the Force at this point, still, and like they are in the prequels. So like the fact that they use the Force to open the temple kind of reminds me of from Rebels and Lothal, where they would have to use the Force, and even the Sith Temple from Rebels, where they'd have to use the Force to open doors. So I thought that was quite cool. Um,
Mhm.
but I will say, yeah, I'm mostly excited to just see the Jedi at their high. I really want to see, like, I feel like this story is gonna give us a lot of insight of like how the Sith, started to slowly gain power and you know, just kind of grow in the shadow of the Jedi, and then eventually destroy the Jedi as we see in the main movies. So that's what I'm most excited for. I'm also excited to like see like new Jedi, more
Yep.
lightsaber fights. Like in the trailer, we got like 8 Jedi ready to fight. Like that seems really cool to me. And just more lore in Star Wars. It's a new era of Star Wars that we haven't seen yet on the big screen. And it's gonna be a fresh new story, and that's something I'm really excited for. What about you?
I Yeah, I agree completely with that sentiment. The cool thing about this new era and it being, so far back from the Phantom Menace is the fact that we don't know how this story ends for any of these characters. The only characters that we may see, um, we don't the only characters that we may get a mention of Yoda. We may Yariel Poof was part of the High Republic. The old Jedi Masters. I don't think they'll have a large part in the stories. In this story in particular, I think that you may just get a mention
Little
of
cameo.
them.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think I hope they don't like just bring in Yoda and like
Yes.
have him be a main part of the
A
story because
hundred percent.
these characters are awesome and should be fleshed out to the highest extent that they possibly can.
Yeah. Connor, you hit the nail on the head there. That is something I also really want to see because I feel like in this new era of Star Wars, let's be honest, with the Ahsoka show and Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, it could have been a lot better. I feel like they lean too much on our nostalgia. So I hope they don't do that with this show, like shoehorning Yoda and like characters
Mhm.
we already know. I'd love to them to expand on new characters and let us, make connection with these new characters, build their character up, build their story. It'd be cool to have like cameos and references to characters that we know, but this is a whole like new era we haven't seen before. So I'm in complete agreement with you there. Let's see some new stuff. Don't like
Yeah,
lean too heavily on, what we already know.
yeah, and one of the newer revelations that we've gotten from this show, it's caused quite a stir among Star Wars fans and the Star Wars community is the lightsaber whip that we saw from Vernestra, who has that purple lightsaber in Johnny's background. And like I said, is one of the most important characters. Do you mind if I do a little bit of a lore drop on Vernestra?
Yeah, let's do a lore drop. I
Okay.
don't know this lore, so yeah,
Yes.
let's get it.
So Vernestra, I forget the name of her species, but they live to be like hundreds of years old, a couple hundred years old. Um, she is basically she's a prodigy among the Jedi. In the High Republic stories, she is 16, 17-ish. And she became a Jedi Knight at the age of like, I want to say like 12 or 13 or 14. Like she is she's the youngest to become a Jedi Knight.
Chosen one
Um,
of the
what's
era.
that?
Is she the chosen one of their era? So it
That
sounds
I mean, it's
she just seems like
the
the
chosen one. She has some really cool abilities where they haven't explored. They've hinted at them in the books, but haven't fully explored them. But she is like I said, the youngest Jedi Knight to be the Jedi to be knighted like in a long time, and she actually takes on a Padawan in the young reader novels, where she is only a couple of years older than her Padawan, and she deals with a lot of like imposter syndrome, where she doesn't think that she's good enough or worthy of being like a master to somebody. She deals with her own struggles because her friends her own age are still Padawans, and she feels kind of outcasted in that way, where not everyone is as accepting of her. There are some people are a little bit jealous of her and try to pull her down. So she's a super interesting character, and I'm super excited to see what she is when she's an adult, because that's a big time skip from when we see her in the books. Um, and the cool thing is we see her actually build a lightsaber whip in the book. So I knew that she had a lightsaber whip. Obviously, the people who didn't read the books, which are it seems like the majority of our Star Wars community, um, they were surprised, and it seemed like they were taken aback. But what are your thoughts on the lightsaber whip?
I don't know too much about it. I just know that it's been in Legends before. I believe some Sith used it like 2,000 years before the Phantom
Mhm.
Menace. I know of that. We have seen other whip weapons in the Clone Wars, such as the Zygerians from
Yeah.
season 4. They use the kind of whip weapon. So the whole concept of a lightsaber whip just sounds really cool. Um, yeah, I didn't even know this like was a thing in the High Republic. Like me, like other Star Wars fans didn't know
Yeah.
this was a thing. So I'm quite excited to see it. I'm also quite excited to see how it like works. Like how is it that bendy? Like, do we even know like the physics behind it? I do you
So
know from the
she,
books?
yes, I forget exactly what the physics are, but she can, she customized her lightsaber to be able to basically flip a switch, and the plasma becomes like a whip, and she can
That's cool.
switch it back, and it'll
She
become
can do
like a
like a
regular
normal
lightsaber.
fight, and then she can just be like, "Oh, just kidding."
Yep, like you see in that picture right behind you, it's just a regular lightsaber.
Yeah, I see
And
that.
she can flip a switch and it becomes a whip. So I don't know the exact mechanics of like I would have to go back and read the book, but it was something that she wasn't sure that she should do, and it shouldn't express herself the way that she is, but it felt right to her in the force, so she did it. And some like a couple of the Jedi Masters like really praised her for it at the time, like um, building her own path. She's a trailblazer in and of herself because she is so young and a prodigy. Um, so yeah, she's a really cool character that I'm excited to see her almost as like a mentor figure for everybody. Basically, she's older than everybody on that poster right there.
Yeah,
So
how old do you reckon she is at this point?
so like I said, 250 years before the Phantom Menace is when the books take place. So she's probably around like she's probably around 200 years old, somewhere around there.
Looks
So
very young.
yeah, her species. I don't know if they'll. I mean, I'm assuming that they won't retcon any of that. Just with, I think there's no reason. Like she can live up to like
Or like
300 years. So
retcon
yeah,
in the
like
book.
I think that there's no reason to do that because they built this whole thing with the acolyte in mind. I'm sure. So I think that it'll be cool to see her, especially for those who read the books.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it and really excited. What else are you excited about for the show?
I I want to figure out who. Well, I'm excited for the Acolyte, figuring out who the Acolyte is. It's a dark side center story, and the mask of the Acolyte is yeah, yep,
Right
right
there.
there.
I like that.
Um, it's one of the coolest masks that I've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm getting like
Um,
Knights of Ren vibe from it, or like almost like
yeah,
Inquisitor vibe, which I quite like. I mean, that's in the name Dark Side Acolyte, and
mhm.
it kind of fits on brand for that term. Yeah, it's a cool looking mask. I don't know who that is, but in the one trailer, you see the camera pan to them. You're like, oh crap, who's that? That man guy looks like a badass. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
Um, yeah, I just think seeing the Jedi deal with the fact that there is a dark side force user that has been that there has been dark side residing among them for a long time, where we see in the Phantom Menace like Mace Windu talking like, hey, the Sith have been like have not been there for a millennia. Like,
It was Monday. Yeah, it was like
or it
Monday.
was Mundi, yeah,
Yeah,
Kiadi
like the
Mundi.
Sith haven't been seen in a millennium.
Yeah, exactly. I think like them realizing that there is still dark side there and there's still, darkness, and there's something that they should do to stop it. Them coming to the realization that they're not perfect as Jedi, and their order is not maybe what it used to be at the
Yes.
height of their power.
So you're bringing up good themes here, and I think what we're gonna see. This is just my theory. I'm gonna go off talk about this now. Is like so you know how you just talked about Mundy saying the Sith had been seen millennium. I
Mhm,
bet you they cover it up, or because they're in denial that the Jedi or the Sith have
mhm.
returned.
Yeah,
Because in the prequels, the Jedi are quite arrogant in themselves. Like we see that in the Clone Wars. Like you know
they're blinded.
they're blinded by the dark side. They're blinded by their tradition. Luke talks about it in the sequel trilogy. Like, I think this is gonna be eye opening. Like, this is a show about like basically the dark side returning, and like how are they gonna react to it? I'm assuming it's not gonna be great,
Right,
but
right.
it's an exciting story, to learn and see. So that's a cool point that you brought up there with the Sith not being around.
And
Um,
one of the things that we haven't heard yet from this show, and like the lingo of this show, is Sith, right?
yeah, they haven't used the
We've heard
word Sith.
Acolyte, we've heard
Dark side acolyte. Yeah.
Dark Sider, like unidentified Force user. Like we they
I don't even
haven't
know what a
said
Sith
Sith.
is.
They haven't said the Sith. I don't know. We don't even know if these people are technically Sith, because there can be dark side without being a Sith and following the Sith teachings. We can see they obviously bled a crystal for a dark lightsaber, a red lightsaber. So the dark side is definitely strong with
Definitely around.
these people, this group. Um, but Sith just isn't a word that has been used with this show, which intrigues me, because I don't like I feel like some Star Wars fans might nitpick if they do see a Sith and they're like, oh, well, they said the Sith weren't around. Like they said the Sith didn't show themselves. Um,
I mean, they were there the whole time. It's just
right,
how
exactly.
is the show going to balance what Mundy said in Phantom Menace compared to what we see in the show? I think is going to be an interesting thing that they're going to play off of, because the fact they haven't used the word Sith leads me to believe that like that's kind of maybe how they're gonna play it, of like, oh, it's not like a full-fledged Sith, it's like a Jedi that
Mhm.
fell, like because the main assassin that we see in the trailer seemed like she was a former Jedi, so potentially that is she's not technically a Sith. So
Yeah, May is who you're talking about, right? May.
yeah, but the little knives.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind them. I wouldn't mind us seeing new dark side people. Like if there's a different, like we look, if I'm looking at the character index right now, um looking at like Mother Aniseya. If you look at her,
Yeah,
has that
let me look at it.
she's yeah, if you look at it's the data bank, it's the lady with the symbol on her
Yeah,
forehead.
she was talking in the one trailer. Yeah, what is she
um
about?
she's like the leader of what I'm guessing is the acolytes. Like,
Yeah, Coven of Witches. A planet
yes,
I've never heard of. Brendonk.
who value their independence and the preservation of their beliefs and powers. She is
Knowledgeable of the
knowledgeable in the
Force.
arcane ways of the Force. So either she has an influence on these Darksiders, she is leading, she looks like almost a cult leader where people are
Almost like Mother
worshiping
Town. I'm
her.
getting like Mother Townsend vibes from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
And it's coincidentally there in High Republic there is a character who once we go back beyond where the Light of the Jedi like phase 2 is back even farther, like 100 years. There's a character called the Mother who is the leader of the, it's called the Path of the Open Hand, which eventually turn into the Nihil. So it may just be a coincidence, but like the use of the term mother is very interesting to me, and we've seen it before with Mother Townsend. Um, so it's, I think she'll have a big part in influencing um, May as a dark side user. We see her talking in the trailers. We see her talking to her saying, like, the Force isn't doesn't tell you what to do. It's not a predetermined path. Like you have to go and take it. Um,
Yeah.
so that is something that I feel is a little bit more leaning towards a dark side user,
Yeah.
using the Force for selfish ways and getting what you want.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Let me read her May's description here on the site. A mysterious young woman with a tragic past may get swept up into a sinister mystery, one that puts her into the center of a conflict in unexpected ways. She is determined to exact vengeance on those who have wronged her, and little can stop May on her quest. So the term vengeance there is definitely
Mhm.
dark side like, and
And
maybe. Oh, go ahead.
we know that she is the former Padawan of
Basically.
Soul. No, she's, I mean, he said it. He's
Oh,
like,
it's
I
like
taught
confirmed. I know in the trailer, but like sometimes they match up the trailer.
yeah, that, I mean, yeah,
We
actually
can
that might be
assume
true.
that she's a former Jedi and she was his student.
Yeah, so um Path of Vengeance, maybe Soul had done something, made a choice that didn't help May. Like some like he almost feels like that she almost feels like he betrayed her in a way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it seems like the word like tragic past. Like maybe she got some like crazy lore, crazy thing that happened to her. Like she was maybe wronged by the Jedi. Like remember we saw in Clone Wars, Ahsoka got expelled. Maybe we're on some kind of vibe like that, where
Yeah.
we still have the Jedi were stubborn and stuck in their tradition. So like maybe we get a scenario like that. Um, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I am excited to see like how she got on her path. Um, to the dark side. And this little snippet here on the website is quite intriguing.
She's in the clips that we had just watched previously. It seems like she's a little bit tentative to fight against the Jedi. Um, so to me, that screams like redemption arc. Redemption arc. We're gonna see her battle through her past, realize that what she's doing is not the right way, and turn back to the light side. Who knows if that happens? Um, but my Star Wars my Star Wars radar is popping off where if someone's not completely engulfed in the dark side, they are on a path for redemption.
That is your like running like disbelief.
Yeah, I mean we see it a bunch of times. I mean, just from everything that we've seen is
I guess
redemption, redemption, redemption,
I guess they
redemption,
just did
redemption.
with Barris in the Tales of the Empire. Like that was a little redemption arc for her.
Yeah, that was done so well. On a side note,
Yeah,
that was
side
done
note,
so well.
that was
I cried watching those episodes.
you
So
cried.
yes, it was so beautiful.
I didn't cry, but they were pretty good. I loved like the
Yeah.
Ilum cave scene with the four sister.
Hmm.
That was pretty good. It would have been cool if like we got a little Ahsoka cameo in there just because of their history, but it seemed like Ahsoka is who Ferris was talking about with old friend. I mean,
Yeah.
we won't know, but yeah,
Yeah.
I also quite liked the Tales of the Empire. I thought it was really well done, and it's always cool to see Clone Wars animation. I mean, I
Damn
grew up
right.
on Clone Wars. I saw that movie when it came out. I need more uh content in Clone Wars animation, please.
No, I agree. I agree. Um, any other predictions, theories that you have? What are you most excited for? Any cameos? Like I said, we may get
Yeah,
a Yoda mention.
I do have a one cameo that I've been thinking about that I think they're gonna do. Darth Tenebrous. So
Wow.
if you know
Okay.
Darth Tenebrous, if anybody listening knows, in Legends, I don't know if he's technically canon yet, but in Legends, he is the master, Sith master to Darth Plagueis, who is, I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's in canon because of Revenge of the Sith. He was Palpatine's master, and because we're about 100 years before um the Phantom Menace, I'm theorizing that he is in the trailer. If you guys know what I'm talking about, when May is looking at a figure in the distance, I'm theorizing that that is Darth Tenebrous, and it'd be very
Okay.
cool if he became canon in the show, um, because he, like I said, was a master of Darth Plagueis, so basically like the grandfather of Sith of Palpatine. Like the timelines match up, and it'd be cool to like have that connection to Legends. I always love when Star Wars brings things into Legends because there's a lot of cool stuff in Legends. Um, so yeah, I think it'd be really cool if they brought him into the show, and it'd be like, oh, so that's what the Sith have been doing, and then like you get the connection to Plagueis eventually and whatnot. So
Hmm.
that's my theories. I think we see Darth Tenebrous at some point.
I
Maybe
love
looks
that.
different. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I first off, I love the deep lore pool from the Plagueis novel. Um, but
Oh yeah, he is in the Plagueis now. You read
yeah,
that? Yeah, you know about
yes,
Tenebrous, don't
yes.
you? Yeah,
Yep. He
it's like a squid guy.
Tenebrous was the first person to try and manipulate the midichlorians,
To
I
create life.
believe, to try to like create life. Yeah. But
He started
that
with
would
what instead.
that would be a deep pool. I don't like I said, that might cause and people would be excited about that. That might cause a little bit of confusion with people, but like I said, I hope it doesn't. If that does happen, I hope it doesn't take away from the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, but I still think that it would be a cool connection to like kind of wrap it together. Like I know we talked about earlier in the pod of like we don't want like, too much nostalgia to take over, but like he's
Right.
technically from Legends, so we don't know a lot about him yet.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a cool connection. But I see your point.
Yeah. No, I like that. Other people we could see. So, like I said, Yoda is around 800 years old. Yoda in the High Republic is so there's actually multiple Grand Masters in the High Republic. Um, he mostly spends his time off on like adventures and missions with like a group of younglings. So he will take, I don't know, 10, 15, somewhere around there and just like travel around with him. There's a lot of comics with Yoda in there with like the Young Jedi adventures and stuff like that. So I doubt that we'll actually see him in physical form. Yaddle is in the High
Yaddle,
Republic.
yeah, Yaddle would be around.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yaddle's in the High Republic. Yariel Poof is in the High Republic. Um, who else is in
Master
there?
Sunube would be in the High
Yep,
Republic.
Sanube's in there. Like they have actually showed up in the High Republic. And there's one more Jedi that there's one more Jedi Master that I'm thinking.
Is it the like the snake guy?
I think it may be, hold on.
You know what I'm talking? That's a
Jedi.
very poor description for our audio listeners. But there is a Jedi that technically survived Order 66. It was in the Vader comic. And I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was on the council in the Clone Wars.
It's oh, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Oh, Oppo Rancisis.
Yeah,
That's
Oppo
who it
Rancis
is.
is he's in High Republic?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the snake looking guy. Yeah, totally. Great description there. But
Yes, no, but that he's got a long beard and stuff like that. I'm
yeah.
like
It was in
95% sure
Clone
that he
Wars. Yeah,
showed
it
up.
was on in season 6. He was on the council when Yoda's like, I hear a voice in my head. I think I'm going crazy. You remember
Yeah.
that when he
Yep.
becomes a Force ghost?
Oh, yeah, he's a council member.
Yeah, he was there. So, oh, that's cool that we have like I said, it's cool that we have some connection to like what we know, but I am very excited to learn about new characters. Like all these characters behind me, I haven't really read the High Republic. I know nothing about them. You know about some of them, like
Yep.
the one with the lightsaber whip and other ones that you've heard in the from the stories, but new characters and new fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. I know we keep saying that word excited, but
Yeah, we're saying it quite a lot.
that's I mean, yeah, that's what this is. We have a new show coming out in a new era with no prior knowledge except for, some books that I'm gonna assume that most of the Star Wars fandom and the most of the casual fans have not dove into the High Republic. So it's super cool to be able to see everybody take a dive into that new era. And I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what they think about it.
Yeah. Do you know how many episodes long this series is going to be? I just know that there are 2 episodes dropping on June 4th. I don't know anything else at this point.
I want to say 8 or 10. Let me confirm because I mean that's what all of the shows have been.
Eight
Um
or 10.
Acolyte,
Andor was 10 or was it more than 10?
I think it might have just been 8.
I don't remember. Now let's get a fact check real quick. Let's see what we got.
I don't know, dude.
See, I don't even, I guess it hasn't been confirmed yet.
But yeah, I hope we get a beginning, middle, and end that's satisfactory. I'm excited
Hope for
to
a good story. Yeah, that's a new Jedi, new story, good story. That's all I
and the
hope.
opportunity for more lore, right?
Yes, maybe this is a lead into other shows or other content. I'm not sure what they have planned, but this is maybe there'll be a second season of this. We don't know,
Hmm.
but um, yeah, I don't want to say excited again, but that's how I'm feeling. I just said it.
Yeah, and the cool thing for us, so we are on the East Coast. We are on East Coast time. It is releasing at 9 p.m. East Coast time. So huge, huge, huge W for the troopers who have waited until 3 a.m. to watch the shows in the past. We stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch Mandalorian.
Yeah, I
What
think
other
we did
shows?
that.
Book of Boba.
Yeah, we did that when season 2 of Mando dropped. I remember walking down to Connor's house in our college town. This was like Mando dropped. Oh, second season of Mando, I think dropped like it was still kind of like COVID was still going on.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were like at school, and I remember walking down to his house like 2 in the morning, stopping at the local gas station, getting a turkey sandwich, ready to go, and we stayed up and we watched Mandalorian.
Yep.
And it was 3 a.m. And then the West Coast people, like I'm gonna shout out Darth right now.
Yes,
He
sir.
was he's great content. He's on YouTube and TikTok. Um, he's been watching it at midnight. That's a lot more reasonable. So now the fact that I don't have to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch this, it could be 9 o'clock. It's a big W for us.
I agree. And I
Big
remember
W.
actually after that first episode of Mandalorian, we
We
actually
never did
spoke
again.
with Dark. We spoke with Darth Chaco
Yeah, I remember he called.
um
Yeah.
on a little Zoom call and just kind of talked about the episode, which is that was a fun time.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I like I said, I think we've gone through everything we wanted to hit. We're back on the Starlight podcast, which the name in and of itself is a High Republic
It
reference
is. Yeah.
to Starlight Beacon. Um, long live Starlight Beacon. Uh, it is no longer. So, yeah, do you want to any last words?
The only other last words I'll say, I mean, we didn't talk about it, but I will say some of the actors and actresses that are in the show are pretty intriguing. Master Soul is the guy from Squid Game,
Yep.
and then the young Padawan girl with the horns like on her head. She was the little girl in Logan, that Wolverine movie. So that makes me feel old because that was like 7 years ago. And she was like a 10 or 11 in that film. And now she's
Yeah.
like older. So that's interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, that's another thing that intrigued me about the show is some recognizable actors and actresses that they brought in that are, quite famous and quite good actors and actresses. So that's quite exciting.
Yeah. No, I agree. And um the name. So the name of the actor from Squid Games is Lee Jung Jae. So
Young
um,
James.
yeah, kudos to them. I'm excited to see their performances. We'll be back with another episode after the premiere too. So um, yeah, I think that's
Doing
where we're gonna leave
everything.
things.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you guys. If you made it this far into the podcast, you can follow me on TikTok at Jedi.Connor, Connor. And Bates, I know you are not
I'm
on TikTok
I'm
anymore.
retired from TikTok. I guess you could follow me if you want and look at my old videos if you really want to. But yeah, you can also check us out on YouTube. Connor, I believe your YouTube is Jedi.Connor as well, where this is going to go up. You can also check us out on Spotify. The podcast will be up there, RSS as well. And yeah, like Connor said, we're going to be coming out with another episode after the Acolyte. Premiere is going to be 2 episode premiere. Episode should be out a day or two after it drops. And yeah, you get to hear our opinions, thoughts, and I mean, I feel like it's going to be a wild 2 episode premiere. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be probably a lot to talk about.
Yeah. All right, guys, we appreciate it. May the force be with you, Bates. May the force be with you.
And with you, have a good one.